Hello Home Slices, it's Kiara with Home Slice Adulting, and I'm coming to you today with my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9, Episode 8, Bosom Buddies. Now, first thing I want to say is Happy New Year. I know it's like January 7th, but I spent New Year's with my boyfriend's parents in Mobile, Alabama, and right after that we went on a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas. So we just got back yesterday, so I got to get back into the groove of doing videos and doing them regularly. And I want to thank all of the new subscribers. Thank you for watching and hitting that subscribe button, because I know that you know, when you actually subscribe to somebody, it means that you like their content. So I'm very appreciative to all of the new subscribers, and I want to let all of you guys know that I do want to be more on top of my game with actually making these videos, and then you guys can look forward to more regular videos about a variety of topics. But for now, let's get started with tonight's review, because this episode is the juiciest that we have seen in a very long time from Real Housewives. So let's get started. So first off, we start off with Cynthia feeling rejuvenated, because not only is she about to be, you know, newly divorced, but she has purchased a new house. She wants to check her girls with her girls and get a boob consultation to make sure that her implants are doing okay. And so Kandi, Cynthia, and Kenya are the first to be there, and Kandi finds out that Phaedra is coming along, and she thinks that it may be awkward because less than 24 hours ago she had that very revealing conversation with Phaedra. Now here's where Kandi's favor kind of runs out with me. Kandi has pretty much always been my favorite housewife. I think that typically she's no nonsense and that she knows how to stay neutral in things. As a neutral party, has heard a lot of things, kept a lot of things to herself, and now she's gotten fed up to the point where everything is coming out. But still, I guess it feels like it's out of character for Kandi, and I think that's what I'm not liking about it. But anyways, Kandi spills all of the beans about the conversation that she had with Phaedra, and for Kandi to tell Cynthia and Kenya, two people that Phaedra has gotten into it with before, I thought it was very weird. And I didn't like that in addition to spilling all the beans on national TV, that she told their peers about something and it's just gonna spread and get out to everybody else and create drama. But that's why we watch the show. But Phaedra was cordial when she came in. She spoke to Kandi, and she was very concerned with the boobs, because, you know, Phaedra's a freak and she was very into the boobs. But anyways, I thought that the little game that Cynthia played with the doctor was very funny, about him guessing which people, which of the girls had breast implants. But they were all very girly about the boobs and were like, ah, boobs, can we touch them? I just thought that was a little weird. Like, do women in their late 30s and early 40s have these kind of conversations with each other? I don't know. We move on and we see Cynthia, and that she wants Noel to have a relationship with Peter because he's been in her life for half her life, you know, for 8 years. And so Peter goes to yoga with Noel. Apparently it's hot yoga, and Peter's definitely not used to it, and he's farting ill and he's not holding the poses long enough. So but anyways, once it's over, Noel starts to read Peter. You know, he's like, oh, you look so different. And she's like, yeah, that's what happens when you don't see me for a few months. And oh, it sucks that you had to find out that I'm the face of my mother's brand on Instagram when you could have just called. But yeah, she read him. But you know what? Noel has always been a little bit more no nonsense, more so than Cynthia or Peter. But anyways, she's absolutely right about the parents who are getting a divorce having to set the tone for the communication that the children have with, you know, whichever parent is not going to be in their life as much anymore. Noel is like, nobody is asking me how this divorce is making me feel or if I miss Peter. Nobody seems to care about how I am being affected by this major life change. And she starts to cry a little bit. And Peter, you know, kind of has this excuse to where he's like, you know, I'm just trying to respect your mother's space. And, you know, Noel just sees right through that. And Noelle is like, I have a relationship with you outside of my mother. So if you wanted to congratulate me on anything or talk to me, I felt like it at least warranted a phone call. And so they had this little, you know, hug, and I think Peter dropped a little tear, and Noelle was upset too. And, you know, Peter was like, you know, we've been selfish, and in the future, I'm going to do better. You know, he took blame for it. He apologized. And I thought that was really great. It was a very heartfelt moment. The only heartfelt moment on this episode, but whatever. Next, we see Cynthia showing her new house to her sister Mal and her mother Barbara. They sold the townhouse for $655,000, and Cynthia said that, you know, she was smart and bought a house that was already built instead of getting into it about manors and chateaus and, you know, projects that still aren't quite finished yet. But anyways, that particular day happened to be her 6-year wedding anniversary to Peter, and she just felt like it was a new beginning for her, which is wonderful. So that's great. Enough about Cynthia. Next, we move on to Sheree. She's meeting with her interior designer, Michelle, because her original move-in date has passed. Your original move-in date passed like 4 years ago, Sheree. Whatever. But she's ready for the house to be finished and decorated. Now, Sheree is looking at all of this furniture. Now, this is the same woman who said, you know, in previous episodes and in this episode, that unless you're a college student, you should not have IKEA furniture. But she's complaining to the interior designer about being poor and, you know, why are you showing me the most expensive pieces? Now, as a salesman slash interior designer, it is his job to kind of, you know, put you over budget, kind of. Yeah. But the problem is Sheree has to be approving this stuff. He can't just make decisions without her. And she says that they are now $100,000 over budget. Now, Sheree says, I'm poor. Why are you showing me all the best pieces? Maybe you need to go to IKEA. Okay, there's nothing wrong with having meantime furniture until you can get your coins up to get the high-end furniture that you want. But since she put so much, you know, pressure on Kenya about not having IKEA furniture, you know that she has to keep up with the Joneses and, you know, make sure that she lives by her own standard and not having IKEA furniture in her house. And that's the problem with Sheree, is that she claims that she's poor, but she has a very poor mindset. If she can't afford the furniture in the house, what makes you think that she can continually afford the maintenance on the house? Whatever, Sheree. Anyways, she says they're working on a deadline. They have 5 weeks to completely decorate the house and have everything finished, the trimming, the plumbing, that kind of stuff. And the housewarming is in 2 months. And apparently she learned a lot for, you know, what not to do with Kenya and her housewarming. So whatever. We'll be hearing about Sheree a lot more. Next, we have Kandi, Mama Joyce, and Ace, and they're at the jewelry store to pick up some earrings for Riley's birthday. Now, they start discussing the dinner that Phaedra had with Kandi, and they make the saleswoman so uncomfortable with the mess that they were talking that the saleswoman had to leave. But anyways, Mama Joyce seems relieved that Kandi put everything on the table, and Mama Joyce thinks that Kandi could stand to be more like her by telling people how she feels instead of being so nice. Now, Kandi says that she had a conversation with Riley about block calling and wanting to build a relationship with Riley, but she didn't tell Riley that the conversation ended poorly. Riley doesn't really seem to care anymore, and she feels like her dad is a sperm donor or a birth giver, as she called him. And Mama Joyce said, first thing that Mama Joyce said that made sense this entire season is that he can meet with Riley, but let it be on Riley's terms. Yeah, Mama Joyce, I like that. The only thing you said this whole season that I liked. But anyways, next we see Riley's little family get together for her birthday. They sing happy birthday. They actually seem like a real family and not like a family that we just watch on TV. But anyways, they all eat cake and dab, and Mama Joyce's dab was hilarious. I thought that was very funny. But when Kandi dabbed, she looked like, is it I Dream of Jeannie? She was like, with that ponytail, it just made her look like I Dream of Jeannie. But anyways, Riley says that her dad called and wished her a happy birthday and that he wants to meet with her. Now, Todd's daughter Kayla walks in, wishes Riley a happy birthday, and they wanted to know Kayla's opinion on trying to get Riley and Block, together. Now, Kayla has insight into it because we all know the situation with her not knowing Todd until she was, like 9 years old. And Riley kind of had a point that it's a little different, a little harder when you're older to try to have a relationship with your father than when you're younger. Because when you're younger, you are more naive and have more hope in getting to know this person, as when you're older, you become more desensitized to it. So I understand that, but Kayla did have some valuable insight. Kayla says that, Riley takes longer to get acclimated to a situation, and that she thought that Kandi should be there to support, Riley getting to know her father, because Riley probably wouldn't have held a conversation or tried to talk out anything with her father, get to learn about him or anything, and that Kandi being there would make Riley more comfortable. Now, here's the problem that Kandi has. Kandi wants to remove herself from that relationship, I think, for two reasons. One, she feels like Riley is old enough to actually form a relationship on her own with her father. And two, there's 14 years of water under the bridge that Kandi has had to deal with Block coming into and coming out of Riley's life, and that any interaction that she has with Block is just going to stir up those feelings, and it's going to negatively impact their interaction and negatively impact Riley. So I see both sides of it. But anyway, Kandi is happy that Block called, but she's not hopeful about him staying in touch. Next, we see Porsha, Shamia, and Sheree doing some type of weird yoni egg exercise. Now, I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between these yoni eggs and like the Kegel balls that Kandi sells, for bedroom candy. I feel like there is no difference, but whatever. Shamia is actually really loving the whole yoni egg thing, and Sheree walks in and sees strings hanging out of their, hoo-has, and Sheree is very confused. She says she can't participate because it is that time of the month for her. Now, initially, I was trying to figure out how Sheree knew all the details about what Kandi had said to Phaedra, because of course, Sheree's only purpose on this show is to be a conduit for mess. She is the the connection between the other women that gets mess from point A to point B. So I was trying to figure out how Sheree knew, but then we see that Kandi calls Sheree, and so Sheree actually heard it from the horse's mouth. That's another problem that I have with Kandi. But whatever. Now, after hearing all this information about what happened between Kandi and Phaedra, Porsha seems very upset. And now she's upset that in addition to talking about Porsha dating Block, she's talking about Phaedra dating somebody else before Apollo left to go to jail. Now, I don't know why Kandi even told Sheree all this, because if Sheree couldn't keep quiet about Porsha dating Block, there's no way she was going to keep quiet about all this tea that she spilled with Phaedra. And so there's some people in life that are so messy that you only tell them things when you want those things to get out to other people. So if Kandi's intention was for everybody in the group and everybody in the world really to know about the conversation that she had with Phaedra, then I could see her telling Sheree on purpose. Now, I was with Porsha, which is very rare because I rarely agree with Porsha, when she said that she didn't like that the conversation between Kandi and Phaedra didn't stay between Kandi and Phaedra. Eventually, we would have known everything that Kandi had said to Phaedra because it's on national television. But for Kandi to go around and actively spread it to the other women in the group I didn't like that, and I was with Porsha on that. And that, now it's in the streets. Now, I had to pause the TV when Shamia said that Phaedra tried to push up on her husband while they were still married. And I was like, what? That was a surprise to me. I don't know if any of that is true, but it's hilarious. Anyways, Porsha brings the conversation back to the issue at hand, and she says, you know what? If your former best friend reveals things that you told them in confidence, you know, once you're no longer on good terms, it pretty much confirms that that rumor is true. And, you know, I was with Porsha on that. You're not supposed to do that to other people. Next, we see Phaedra, Porsha, and Sheree meeting up. They tell her about everything that happened at the Yoni Ball exercises. And they bring up the things that Kandi told Sheree about, you know, the dinner that Phaedra and Kandi had. Now, Phaedra is exactly right about Kandi needing to be occupied with things like her baby and her husband and her businesses and things like that and block. Instead of, you know, instead of telling everything that she, you know, told Kandi in confidence. Now, they address the Shamea thing very briefly. Phaedra does not acknowledge, you know, hitting on Shamea's ex-husband, but she does say that Shamea is known for sleeping around with other people's husbands. So, you know, she deflected that real quick. But anyways, Phaedra says, Phaedra tells them as quietly as possible that Shamea is Kandi and Todd's concubine. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but that Shamea gets involved in threesomes with Kandi and Todd, and they're all sleeping together. Now, I was suspicious initially of Shamea's relationship with Kandi, especially when Kandi said that she met Shamea through Porsha, but not this suspicious to the point where they were like sleeping with each other, but whatever. So next we have, in this last and final scene, we have Porsha, Sheree, and Kandi. They all meet up, and I think that this conversation should have happened between just Porsha and Kandi. Porsha says that she sees Kandi as a bully now and that she wants to stand up to her. Now, the small talk is over really quickly, and the whole situation came up with Porsha addressing her individual needs first. And she was like, you know, I didn't appreciate that you had a conversation with Sheree about my relationship with Block, and you saying that I had slept with him. Now, Porsha's issue is that Kandi, she believed that Kandi said that Porsha had slept with Block. Now, they played it back, and Kandi did not say explicitly that they had slept together. She said that she used to kick it with Block. Now, I guess kick it in Sheree's mind means that she slept with him. But Porsha says that, you know, I did not sleep with him. And Kandi was like, I said that you had dated him, but to be honest, you did sleep with him. Let's, you know, be honest and let's keep it real. And the question is, how do you know this, Kandi? I mean, to be spilling tea just left and right, like, it just makes no sense. I didn't like that. I mean, Kandi was right about Porsha not being seen as the Virgin Mary in these Atlanta streets, and that it maybe shouldn't have been the biggest deal that, you know, she said that they had slept together. But the problem is that it's not Kandi's business. It is not Kandi's business to spill the other women's business. So Kandi is really falling out of my good graces. I don't know about y'all, but she's falling out of mine. Anyways, Porsha was right. Once again, y'all don't agree with Porsha that often, but Porsha was right about what Kandi said about her dating Mr. Chocolate, or about Phaedra dating Mr. Chocolate or whatever, that it insinuated that Phaedra cheated on Apollo. And Kandi did one of those Kenya moves where she gets into semantics about saying, I didn't say that Phaedra cheated on Apollo. I said that she was seeing somebody else before he went to jail, which is cheating on Apollo. Duh, Kandi, whatever. Now, Porsha says that she has never heard Phaedra say anything that she felt was below the belt about Kandi's family. And Kandi made it clear, I don't care if you ever put Phaedra in check about anything that's happening or anything that she says that's inappropriate about my family. The point is that she says things in private and thinks that it does not get back to me. Apparently, Phaedra has told other people in, you know, the Atlanta area to not do business with Kandi or Todd. Now, I believe that. I believe that So Kandi is just bringing up other things. Apparently Phaedra has been a lot more malicious than we thought that she was. And now Kandi is just very fed up and is just spilling the beans all over the place. Now, does this change how I feel, at least even a little bit, about Kandi being so vocal about everything? Only a little bit. But the difference between Kandi and Phaedra is that Phaedra does things behind closed doors that we have to hear about later on, but Kandi just spilling the beans all for everyone in the world to see is a little bit different, especially considering how she knew all of Phaedra's secrets. So I don't know. But anyways, Kandi claims that Porsha was well aware of the fact that Phaedra was dating somebody else when Apollo went to jail. And Porsha's just playing dumb. But anyways, Kandi's very over it. She leaves. Sheree's mad that they didn't eat. And then something weird happens. Now Sheree says, oh, so Porsha is now rolling in the dirt with Kandi and Phaedra because Porsha insinuated that Kandi likes girls or that Kandi is a lesbian. Now, here's the thing. Phaedra already hinted at that, or not even hinted. Phaedra already said that when she said that, you know, Kandi and Todd were screwing around with Shamia. But Porsha says something along the lines that Kandi is still in the closet. Now, when Sheree said that Kandi was in the closet, she insinuated that Kandi was like in a closet peeping through a keyhole when when Block and Porsha were doing it. But you know, Sheree will take the littlest thing and, you know, bring it back to the girls, because that's what she does. She is the messenger. But I can't believe Sheree had the nerve to call anybody messy. But you know what, guys? This show was more interesting than ever. You know, ever. Considering how this is episode 8, we deserved one big juicy, you know, episode. So, you know, I was thoroughly entertained. Next time on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Todd and Porsha have a weird, awkward sex moment. Sheree and Bob have some type of conversation. I couldn't really make it out from the preview, but whatever. Kandi's employee goes to Phaedra about suing Kandi. That's freaking hilarious. I've heard a little bit about that situation, but I don't know for sure. We'll see how that goes. It looks like Peter has a new restaurant or some type of opening night for a new place in wherever, Atlanta probably. And Cynthia walks in looking fabulous. And then Kenya shows up to what looks like the same event. And who's right behind her? Her little puppy named Matt. And he's there. And he claims that somebody hit him. Now, I don't know what that situation is, but Matt is looking more and more crazy by the moment. Now, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all of the new subscribers. I am very happy about this new year, and I have a whole bunch of goals and resolutions that I want to accomplish. So thank you guys. Peace out, home slices.